Alright, we're live. Welcome to episode 46 of the Pro-Go Baduk Weiqi Podcast with Xiao Dai and Gaza. This is Xiao Dai. Say hi, Gaza.
Hi.
Hi. Gaza, this is a massive week of Nongshim Cup. So, this week we're only going to talk about the Nongshim Cup and then go to the calendar, right, Gaza?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the end. The Nongshim Cup finished this week, so we want to go over all of the games. Nongshim Cup being the biggest tournament of the year, apart from the Asian Games.
Yeah. Now, basically, while the Nongshim Cup was on, work got really busy. So what I've been doing was I've just been turning on the Joe Ray Yang stream or whoever Chinese streamer was streaming the games. I'm just listening to the commentary. So I didn't actually look at the games very much, Gaza.
Well, yes. Now, should we give a bit of a backstory as to what the Nongshim Cup is and
I think
what was happening this week?
Yes, I think we totally should, Gaza. Now, why don't I just start with a little bit of background information? Now, Nongshim Cup is a team-based competition between China, Korea, and Japan. So each team sends 5 players to the Nongshim Cup. And what happens is that they play in a win and continue tournament format. So 2 teams will play, and whoever loses, that player is eliminated from the team and from the competition. But whoever won the game gets to stay in the competition and take on the next player, which will come from the third country, which basically the country that didn't play, and so on and so forth. Tournament continues until only one team remains. And I think most of the time, usually the competition goes all the way. So there's usually only one player left, but obviously there are exceptions.
Yes. So if if a team has multiple players still left, but everyone else has been eliminated, then that's it. So sometimes players of a team won't even play any games, because everyone else has already been eliminated before they got to play.
So and I think it's been like this for a while. The Nongshim Cup is split into 3 stages. So I think they play like 5 or 4 games in the first stage, 4 or 5 games in the second stage, and then by the third stage they play 4 or 5 games. But for a few years now, I believe they have basically made stage 3 like a 5-game series. So before,
well, the current format is stage 1. Is played. Well, I'm not sure. It's played maybe August or September. I don't recall exactly when. Actually, I'm just going to quickly check now. Just give me 2 seconds. So the first stage is played in October, actually.
Right.
It's played in October, and it's 4 games.
Right.
The second stage is played late November, maybe early December. And it's 5 games.
Very nice.
And then, in February or late February is the third stage. And that can be up to 5 games because obviously there's 15 players. So there's at most 14 losers. So which means at most 14 games. But as we said, sometimes a team can win without all of their players having to play. So it can finish as early as game 10. Theoretically.
Yes.
But if it goes the whole way, then stage 3 will have 5 games. Yes. But yeah, it's an interesting format where games 1 to 4 are played in October, whereas the final games are played in February the next year.
And what's happened this year, Gaza, was that of course we got to stage 3, and let me see if I have actually recorded what's happened so far. So let's just do a recap now. So in terms of a recap, what we have is with Team China with Fan Tingyu, Tojashi, Lian Xiao, Gu Zihao, and Keje. And Korea is the team consists of Shin Min-jun, Kang Dong-yun, Park Junghwan, Byun Sangil, Shin Jinseo. And Japan put out a very strong, probably possibly the strongest Japanese team, which consists of Ichiki Ryo, Hugh Xiaoyan, Shibano Toramaru, Yu Zhengqi, and Yuta.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, what's happened in stage 1 and 2 is that Japan has had all 4 of their players eliminated except Yuta, and none of them have won even a game. So they're down to their last player by the 3rd stage.
Yeah, so just quickly,
Yeah.
very, very quick recap.
Yeah.
In stage 1, Fan Tingyu started off with 3 wins for
Yep.
China. He beat Ichiriki Ryo.
Yep.
Then he beat Shin Min-jun from Korea. And then he beat Su Xiaowan from Japan.
Yep.
Before finally, in the last game of stage 1, he fell to Kang Dong-yun
Yes.
of Korea.
Yes.
Now, in stage 2, Kang Dong-yun went on a bit of a winning streak.
Yep.
He beat Shibano Toramaru.
Yep.
Then he had a very interesting game against Tuo Jiaxi that actually ended up being a triple co or
Quadruple co might have been.
Quadruple co draw.
Yes.
So they had to have a replay
On the same day. Yeah.
on the same day. So literally like an hour later.
Yeah.
That Kang Dong-yun ended up winning.
Nice.
So he got to continue.
Yep.
He next faced Yu Zhengqi and won that one.
Yep.
Before finally falling to Lian Zhao.
Yep.
So Kang Dong-yun ended up winning 4 games for Team Korea.
Very nice.
And then finally on the last game of stage 2, game 9, Lian Zhao fell to Japan's final player, Iyama Yuta.
Yes.
So the stage 3 was going to begin with Iyama Yuta to play Park Junghwan of Korea.
Mm-hmm.
And Iyama Yuta is the last player remaining for Japan, which means he needs to win every game. He can't afford to lose. If Japan wants to win the Nongshim Cup, he has to win every game. And there's 2 players left from China, Ke and Zihao, and 3 players left from Korea, Park Junghwan, Byun Sangil, and Shin Jinseo. So Iyama would have to beat all 5 of those players for Japan to win the Nongshim Cup.
And of course, Yama's best effort at the Nongshim Cup was 4 straight wins, which happened in the last season in the Nongshim Cup, the 23rd.
Yes, that was
Nongshim
in the
Cup.
last season's Nongshim Cup, and that's the only time a Japanese player has won
4 games.
4 straight games
Yeah.
in a Nongshim Cup. Yes.
And so basically, even if Yama repeats that, 4-win streak, he's not really going to win the Nongshim Cup for Japan.
And considering he also beat, he was on a 1-game win streak because he just beat Lian Zhao, so he would have to win 6 games
Yeah.
to win the Nongshim Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think most people would think is pretty impossible, but Yama's next obstacle was Park Junghwan, which is the game that we'll talk about next.
Yes, and so this game was on. Now, this game was on the Monday,
Yeah.
and in each stage, the games are played, every single day with no breaks.
Yeah.
So the first 4 games were played on 4 straight days. Then in stage 2, those 5 games were played on 5 straight days. And so in stage 3, these games are going to be played on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Nagasa, let me know if there's any moves you want to talk about. But as I said, I just listened to the commentary and I occasionally glance at it. But I think what's happened in this game was that. Oh, by the way, Iyama Yuta is white in this game. Park Junghwan is black. I think it just felt like that maybe Park Junghwan just has a better understanding of Go versus Iyama Yuta, because I believe at this point, Joe Ray Young, which is the stream that I watched, he said he doesn't really understand why Iyama just extended here instead of attaching, which is also AI's recommended move. Of course, attaching is Sente, and also this Hane is also Sente, so it's a bit so White can get some benefits over here. So that he thought that was the way to play, and that was also AI's recommendation, but Iyama didn't do that. Iyama instead played the extend, which wasn't actually that bad, because according to Fine Art, supposedly it's still at 33% roughly, so it's not that bad. But basically, but what's happened is Park Junghwan just played very cleverly and just took all of this territory over here, and he's holding a fairly solid territorial lead at this point. But maybe it's only a few points in it, but it was good enough for him to hold on and win this game at the end. So in the end,
I don't think. Yeah. Yes, Xiaodai, I just want to say I don't think that this game was ever. I don't think this game was ever too significantly different in terms of territory. I think it was always a handful of points in it, I think.
Yeah.
And in the end, I think Park Junghwan's evaluation of the position and evaluation of sort of the who was winning was pretty spot on.
Yeah.
In this game, and once he had an advantage, even if it was only a few points, he seemed to know exactly how to maintain that advantage.
Yeah. And I do remember watching the stream, and Joro Young said that when Yuta decides to move out this one black white stone here, he thought that Iyama had done a misread, because obviously if you look at this black group, if White can somehow cut this black group off from connecting back to the black group on the over here, then White is very successful. But it turns out that White actually can't cut off black, and what's worse is that White only managed to destroy a few points, but in Gote, because at this point black can play elsewhere already, because White can't actually cut, obviously. So Zhou Yang also considered this a bit of a failure for Iyama, because he spent one move here and only destroyed a few points and gave black the Sente to attack this white group. And I think that was the basically according to AI at this point, Iyama has only got 5% left in terms of win rate, and there was really no way back for him. But as you said, Gaza, by the end of the game, the margin was only 2.5 points. But I think both players knew the results, deep into Yosei, and I just remember looking at Yama's when he kind of realized that he's lost. It's kind of the disappointment in his face was very easy to spot. So that was
you could be right that fight or that sequence in the top right corner is probably what could have been what decided the game.
Yeah,
I think the fact that it ended up being Gote for White, was a huge factor.
Yeah,
but Park Junghwan is not the type of player who is determined to kill a big dragon or anything like that. He's one of the most patient players I've seen. He's very much reminiscent of Lee Chang-ho,
right? In
that if he can win by half a point, he'll happily do that.
Yeah.
A very tough nut to crack, and Iyama was not able to succeed. And unfortunately, that means that Japan is eliminated from the Nongshim Cup.
Yeah. So Japan got eliminated with just one win, and the margin was not huge, 2.5 points. But
2.5 points. Yeah, and it was actually quite a long game as well, 340 moves. So fairly long, but I think a lot of that was obviously, if it's that long, there's probably going to be a co involved. There was a co, but it wasn't. I don't think it was that important in the end.
Yep.
I don't think it would have changed the result. I think actually White won the co anyway. So
yeah. Well, next up is China. Now, normally, China has two players left, Zihao and Kerje. Normally, you would expect Kerje to be the anchor, the main player.
Well, I actually have some statistics here.
Yeah.
Now, Kerje first participated in the Nongshim Cup
Yeah.
in, I think it was, which edition was it? I'm just quickly going to check. The 17th Nongshim Cup.
Yeah.
Which ended in 2016.
Yep.
Now, this is the 24th Nongshim Cup, and he hasn't missed one since then. So this is his 8th straight Nongshim Cup. Now, in those previous 7 tournaments, he was either the last player or he didn't play.
Right. Yeah.
And in some cases, there were so many Chinese players that didn't play that they hadn't decided. They didn't need to decide who the last player was going to be.
Right.
But it almost, if it had to come to it, it almost certainly would have been Kerje. So he's never not been the anchor.
Right.
Until this Nongshim Cup.
Mm.
And so what happened this time, Xiaodai?
Well, what's happened was Kerje got sent out ahead of Zihao, which is a little bit of an unexpected move to some. But I do remember reading about Kerje wanting to, play first or second, or third. So Kerje really wanted to come out and play because perhaps he thinks that he's not in such great form recently, or his form has been on the decline, and he just wants to take the pressure off himself as the anchor. And also, there's another interesting statistic, which I think it's the one that you mentioned, which is that Kerje, when he played in the Nongshim Cup, he has played at most one game per season, right?
Yes, he's never played multiple games in a single edition of the Nongshim Cup. He's always played at most one game, and that's often because China is that strong that when he does play, it's usually in game 14, so it's the deciding game.
Yeah, and and I think China went through like a golden period, which was, I guess, all too brief for the Chinese fans because it was a few years where they looked like there's nothing Korea can do to stop China, and obviously that's not been true in the last couple of years.
Yes, actually, there was seven Nongshim Cups from the 15th Nongshim Cup to the 21st. China won 6 of them.
Right. Yeah.
And Kerje played in 4 of those Nongshim Cups.
Yeah.
And he played in 5 of those Nongshim Cups. China won 4 of them.
Yeah.
And he only played 3 games in total.
Yeah.
Across those 5 Nongshim Cups.
Yeah.
So, and that's how strong China were. And in 2 of those, China only one player lost.
Yeah.
So China finished on game 11.
Crazy.
And 3 of the players didn't even have to play a single game.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do remember there was one year where Kerje played Park Junghwan, and they were both the anchor players, and that was a cracking game, and Kerje ended up winning, I think, if I'm not wrong, by half a point. So they have played before, very well matched players. I think a couple of years back, I think I would have said that Kerje is the stronger player, but based on recent form, I'm not so sure. Now, in this game, I think if I remember the commentary was that basically the commentator said both players played a high quality game. So guys, let me know if there's any particular moves you want to focus on. But
yeah, this was actually one of the more interesting games.
Right.
And yeah, just to confirm, you're right. It was in 2020, the 21st Nongshim Cup, where Kerje played Park Junghwan on game 14, and Kerje won by half a point. Very exciting game.
Yeah.
And that was actually the last time China won the Nongshim Cup.
Yeah, crazy.
Yes, this game, between, perhaps the 2 number 2s. Yeah. For China and Korea, and This one was one of the more exciting games of
Yeah.
this stage, the Nongshim Cup. Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's go through it.
Yeah.
Now, Kerje, just to be clear, Kerje is black. Park
Yeah.
Junghwan is white.
Yeah. So guys, let me know which move you want to focus on. But I only remember at the end it was very, very close in the Yosei, and I believe the commentary says that Kerje has missed some crucial Yosei moves, and that was about it. But it was generally a high quality game. It was, and I think one of the interesting thing was that Kerje after the game he had put out on his it might have been on his Bilibili account says, this is such a shame that he's lost this, and he's only guys, you can see here at the end of the game there were some wild fluctuations here, but they were just really minor Yosei mistakes, and I think Kerje posted a picture where when Park Junghwan got this jump, supposedly if Kerje had played the Yosei properly, Kerje could have actually got this kind of turn. Or actually, the turn was not the recommended move. Kerje could have got this jump, which was supposedly the biggest Yosei move at one point. But Kerje missed that chance, and he posted about it on social media. So by the end, it was a very tense Yosei battle. And unfortunately for Kerje, or maybe it was just what people expected of Kerje, he lost. But the margin was the slimmest possible margin at half a point.
You're right, though. It was that jump that was the final chance for Kerje. Like after missing that, he didn't get another chance in the game. I think.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's far too hard for me to comprehend these mistakes. But as a Q player, my experience watching this game, and I was following it, was that Kerje tanuki'd a lot.
Yes.
In the early stage of the game.
Yes.
But he's known for that. He's known for tanukiing all the time.
No, that's exactly what I was going to say. Like if you look at Kerje's Kifu, he definitely, and the feeling is that he kind of just tanukis like really quickly.
We do have a comment in the comment section. The top right is one of the Joseki that Gosagen popularized.
I think the setup is slightly different. So I think it is true that in the past, in the old Japanese theory, I think they said black is the only retreating like this for black is the only move. But obviously, Gosagen decided that I think the setup is slightly different. Let me see. But Gosagen decided that actually Atari is playable, and they got Atari, and and I think maybe the difference was that maybe this black stone is closer. But I guess this idea is the same, if I remember correctly. So yeah, after playing this, it looks like black's got a dump shape, but actually this one allows black to hane under like this, or black can Atari like this and live in the corner. So Gosagen thought it was playable, but it was considered a innovation in that period. Yep. So Gaza, if there's nothing to discuss on this particular game, we could move on to looking at some pictures.
No, I do want to sort of go over a bit, maybe just give a little bit of background as to why Kerje gets sort of dunked on every time he loses.
Right.
Because like people really come and hate on Kerje whenever he loses, which seems to be more frequent now.
Yeah.
Saying he's basically, letting down China, or he's shit the bed again.
Yeah.
Someone put it in the Discord. And I think a lot of it's to do with Kerje's personality.
Right.
When he was young, he was winning a lot.
He's 25, by the way.
Yeah, he's when he was even younger, like 21 or even younger than that, he was winning a lot, and he was clearly the best player in the world.
Yeah.
But he had this quite abrasive, like arrogant personality. for someone so young, like when he was 18, he was, went into the M Lily Cup final against Lee Sedol, and he was basically saying he was going to win easily or something like that.
No, I think I saw the clip. Basically, I think a reporter was just asking him, Lee Sedol just said that he's got a 50% chance of winning, and then Kerja says, well, if you can divide chances into 100 parts, maybe he gets 5 parts, So basically, it means Lee Sedol's actually got a 5% chance of winning against him.
Yeah. So quite arrogant, but at the time, he got away with it because he was winning. But I think, there's one thing to have a confident personality, which would be, perhaps maybe refreshing in the Weiqi Baduk world where everyone is usually so polite. But I think sometimes it bordered on toxicity and even like misogyny as well. With some of the things he said, and over the years now he's no longer as successful, but that personality still lingers. And so there fans of Baduk and Weiqi who now that he's losing,
you think people are turning on him?
Just looking forward to the opportunity to let him know just how much he sucks now. And how just basically getting their revenge, getting one up on him now. For all the bad things that he said before. So because obviously there are other players who used to dominate like Lee Chang-ho and stuff that aren't as good anymore, but you don't see anyone coming out and
slacking them,
giving them serves and stuff like that online. But with Kerja, it's a little bit different, just I think because of his personality and attitude. So I think people relish in the fact that some people relish in the fact that he's losing. And he's not. To be honest, he's not letting those people down, because this is his third straight Nongshim Cup where he's gone 0-1.
I mean, to be fair, he's gone. The first 2 zeros were given to him by Shin Jinseo, but Kerja hasn't helped himself, has he?
No, certainly not. Yes.
And I just remember in this game, maybe it's a symptom of things to come. I remember looking at the commentary when Kerja made this descent over here. Now, supposedly according to AI, black's actually only around 10%. But what this move tells people is that Kerja is thinking that now it's time to play Yosei instead of playing a more active move. So according to Kerja's assessment, he's actually doing quite okay. In fact, Kerja might even think that he's ahead. And that's why he started to play these Yosei moves. And of course, AI disagrees. And potentially people are thinking that maybe Kerja is not as sharp as when he was at his peak. He's just got his Weiqi senses have gone blunt, for whatever reason. Maybe because of the restaurant, no fresh fruit. But it's not the old Kerja that people are expecting.
Yes, most certainly he's not the. You have to remember that 5 years ago he was dominant. He was very much the feared player and the player that nobody really expected people to beat. But now he's much less of a roadblock, it seems now, and even changing up to not be the last player for China, it hasn't helped. Losing by half a point or losing by a huge dragon is the same result. And the only benefit is, since he wasn't the last player for China still has a chance in this Nongshim Cup.
And Gaza, is there any other move you wanted to go through in this game, or any other background you want to discuss?
No, not this game. This game in particular was it was an exciting game, but very difficult for me to understand, especially the Yosei. Very difficult for me to appreciate why moves reverse the game and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was I think it further illustrated just how hard Park Junghwan is to beat.
Mm.
There are some pros, like despite the fact that they're pros, they can sometimes capitulate after playing a bad move. Perhaps Byun Sangil is one example of someone who might more often than not go on tilt after getting into a bad position. Park Junghwan seems to be one of those players that you just can't fluster. Like he can make bad moves, but then he'll just go back into his extremely solid style, and he always makes his opponent work hard for the win.
About Byung Sang-il, when he comes on, you know, I'll tell you one of Zhou Ruiyang's how Zhou Ruiyang summarizes Byung as a player, which is very, very interesting and very apt. So, Gaza, now that we've looked at some pictures of Kerje and Park Junghwan, maybe we'll move on to the next game. Now, of course,
game 12. Game 12.
Now, because Japan is eliminated after Kerje comes out and loses, China's down to also one player, and also this one player needs to come on now and play Park Junghwan. And this player is Gu Zihao. Of course, a very strong player, previous winner of the Samsung Cup. And I guess Gu can beat anyone. And so I think some of the Chinese fans have not lost hope. They obviously, Gu has the ability to beat the Korea top 3 in a row. But Gu has to get past Park Junghwan first. And in this game, I think what's happened was that I think according to some of the commentary, I think they did say that Park Junghwan, they felt that Park Junghwan was maybe a little bit tired, and that he didn't play well at all. In this game, Gu Zihao is black and Park Junghwan is white. So guys, let me know if there's any move you want me to focus on. But if I remember the commentary correctly, is that there is always this. What's this? This is Gu Zihao is black, Park Junghwan is white. So there's always this push and cut kind of RG over here, which I think is what Gu Zihao managed to exploit very early on. To
where? Sorry.
The push and cut on the left.
Yes.
And if you look at the AI graph, obviously, if you just look at AI, it looks like Gu Zihao's got a good win. Basically led from start to finish. They kind of never kind of fell behind. And Gu Zihao played quite well.
Now if you go back, so I think the first interesting move was move 80. So I think the AI wanted to block here.
Yes. Now I do remember watching the Zhou Ruiyang stream. He said he can't really understand why Park Junghwan went so soft and didn't really block over here.
So Park Junghwan instead just extended those 2 stones.
Because the cut is obviously the next move, but white's got a really nice Hane over here. I guess black can block.
I think white can even jump for move 3. Not there. Jump from 1. So black cuts move 2. And then just jump from 1. I think that's fine.
I guess that's the shape move. Obviously, this cut doesn't work anymore. But it's just a really minor thing. But obviously, Gu didn't go through with the plan to cut. He kind of just let that go. I guess once you got that extra benefit over here, he thought that's kind of enough over here, so decided to make this move.
A very passive. That's more like a Park Junghwan move. I think that's just to get just to guarantee eye shape, right?
Yeah. Well, we'll see about this one. Now, I do remember watching the commentary saying at this point, obviously, because now black is safe in the corner, so it kind of makes sense for white to just extend and help these 4 stones.
Oh yes. Yeah. No, this was the turning point in the game. This
Right.
move 82.
Yeah.
So white sort of
Harness.
harness here,
Yeah.
but
I
yeah,
think.
then black plays this really good move,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's white is now under. White's got problems now because of those four stones. He's they're under a lot of pressure now,
Yeah.
and not only that, I think white can make those four stones live fine,
Yeah.
but if he tries to do that, black's going to get a huge region in the bottom right.
Yeah.
If white just plays a shoulder instead of what white did, if white just ended up playing a shoulder hit or something like that to guarantee those four stones at the bottom lived, it's going to be at the expense of the black's going to be able to build a wall and get the lower right region.
Yeah.
And it's going to be completely hopeless for white at that point. So Park Junghwan realized that, just saving those four stones is not going to work.
Yeah. So he played over here. Now this white group over here, like I don't. It's locally. It's not fully alive. Basically, it's not alive. Basically, locally. So you have kind of white has to do something. But anyway, white played here and black covers. White just decides to make some. But white got cut. And yeah, and I think what's happened here is that I think white is now basically this group is pretty much in trouble. It might have even been dead now, but depending on
and there was apparently Zhou Royang was saying he was saying that at some point even the bottom right group could have been killed cleanly as well.
Right.
In the end, in the game that didn't end up happening, but apparently there was a point. I couldn't see it myself, but apparently there was a point where black could have killed both the bottom left and the bottom right groups cleanly. That's what Zhou Royang was saying.
Yeah.
In the end,
yeah.
that's not what happened. It ended up being a co-fight in the bottom right,
Yeah.
but it didn't matter. It didn't matter in the end.
Yeah, I think it's already pretty tough for white.
Well, the problem is that so the bottom right white group now, it can win in a co, but it's a co, which means black gets two moves elsewhere.
Yeah. So
and in this case, in this case, white had to sacrifice the top left group to get the bottom right, and unfortunately, it's just too many points. Oh, unfortunately for Park Junghwan, that's just too many points for black.
Yeah. And look how solidly black played. I think once black realizes that he's ahead, Guza realizes he's ahead. And I think
so basically the last hope here is white has to get a lot of points in the middle.
In the middle, yes.
But Zihao was not going to let that happen.
Yeah. I think they keep fighting this co. I think white ended up getting an Atari in the co area as well, and I think white ended up winning a co, and I think
white won the co, but black managed to enter into the center from the bottom.
Yeah.
So
I think Zhou Yang's commentary was like, white, actually forced a win of the co that he had no right to win. But it's just not enough because he's kind of lost too much in the process of
white had to get this entire center. So the fact that black managed to invade a little bit from the bottom was more than enough.
Yeah,
and when once black prevented white from cutting off those middle stones, Park Junghwan resigned.
Yeah, and look, Park Junghwan even ended up using these kind of tricks. Empty triangles, really desperate measures to try and see if he can make something happen. But obviously, Gu is just too good and didn't really give Park a chance, and just had all of the Park's tricks just didn't work out for Park. And I think at the end it was just Zhou Yang was saying he doesn't understand why Park Junghwan hasn't resigned much sooner, because it was very clear on the board how big the difference was in terms of the number of points. I think even by just a really rough estimate, this one is I think it's reasonably accurate. Black is ahead by 22 points. So it's a huge difference, not a small one.
Yeah, I don't blame Park Junghwan for continuing to play. He's never been the kind of player to resign early.
Yeah.
He always fights to almost the very end. And also this isn't just him playing. It's the Nongshim Cup, and he's playing for Korea. So may as well just play until he feels that there's absolutely no hope left.
Yeah, no worries. I forgot to turn off the Discord notification again, but I turned it off.
You always forget to do that.
Yeah, I've done that. I've turned it off now. No, so that's the second game, a third game in the stage 3. So Gu Zihao managed to win this, but
just because Gu Zihao won this, that does not mean that China is out of the woods yet, because there are still 2 more Korean players left.
Yes. And they are very, very strong players as well. The next up is Korea didn't do anything surprising. They sent out Byun Sangil for versus Gu Zihao. So now
Korea's number 3.
Yeah, number 3. Now this game, I just want to show a couple of key moments because they are somewhat, it kind of shows what Byung Sangil is like. Now, this is what Zhou Ruiyang said about Byung Sangil. He said sometimes when he looks at Byung Sangil's games, Byung Sangil is winning by a lot, but for somehow he finds a way to lose it. And is this going to be one of those games for Byung? So let's have a look at this one. Now, guys, let me know which move you want to focus on. But I just want to talk about a couple of points from the stream, which I found very interesting. In this game, black is Byun Sangil, white is Gu Zihao. And so black, basically at this point, white is Gu Zihao. So at this point, I think white and black got into a really crazy fighting over here. And a lot of pros were not a big fan of this white's invasion at this point. I guess, obviously the idea is that white can connect under, but some pro felt like that this could be creating another weak group. So then white will be running 2 weak groups. And that's exactly what happened. So Byun Sangil decided to disconnect. It disconnected in this way. And what's happened now is because this white group trying to live made black a bit strong over here. What that means is that this white group got even weaker. And you have to remember there's potentially no eyes in the corner. Just like that. So, and also the other problem is this white group also needs to live, and in the process of living, this white group might make black very strong on the outside, even stronger on the outside. So even though this white group eventually got out, but black activated this Tetsuji in the corner, and now this white group only has 1 eye. So at this point, the commentators were basically saying, "Oh, this looks like a really, really tough game for Gu." And that move all started with one of Gu's overplay and created 2 weak groups. Now, this is a very important storyline. So just remember what Gu did in this game. Created a weak group, got himself into big trouble, and now basically white is in a bit of trouble. And some of the commentary I watched basically says this black schema over here is basically Byung Sangil's style, and this is probably not the safest way to play, because obviously the safest way to play is kind of capture this 1 stone, and then that would be the safest way to play, because this black group actually has some liberty problems potentially, and also there's a cutting stone here. So, but Byung Sangil decides to go on attack anyway, And so
Can we stop at move 78?
78. Yeah.
Now I don't understand why black just doesn't connect that stone that's been cut. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure if white dares to move out. So, and then, I mean, if you cut and don't save this one stone, then I don't know if. Yeah.
But
maybe,
even at two,
yeah, maybe.
even at two, yeah, you can just play that. It looks a bit more. It's interesting. It's interesting, but I think
Yeah.
that just connecting is simpler.
Right. Yeah.
But I guess that's not Byun's style, is it?
Yeah. No. Yeah. So Byun just captures one stone, and then at this point, this is where Byun's definitely 100% leading. Like I currently this AI graph anyway, he's at 87.5%. So it's definitely leading. White is definitely in trouble. And I think some of the commentator was saying, well, why don't you just capture this one stone, let white run out and chase white for a little bit, and make white have a hard time, and you'll still be leading. But no, Byung-sang didn't decide to do that. Byung-sang decided to have a long think. He started thinking really hard, really hard, and he decided not to play the simple move. And after thinking very, very hard for a while, he decided to play this move. And now, Nongshim Cup is only 1 hour in terms of thinking time. So this is you don't want to spend time if there's better ways to, or if there's a risk. But for whatever reason, Byung-sang sensed blood. He wanted to do something here. So he just cut off white like this. Now, of course, you just have to realize that because black technically is still cut off from the other black group. So this black is potentially might have issues, but not yet. Obviously not yet. So, but Zihao, after also doing some reading of his own, decides that actually I'm going to pull out this white stone and let's have a fight. So now you can see black is now completely cut off. But obviously, I think up to this point, this is still within Byung-sang's reading, I believe. I think there's still some issues for white, like for example, things like this can be tricky to deal with. But anyway, he decided to pull out, and to protect against what I just showed in terms of peeping and then doing a tiger's mouth, Zihao decided to get rid of that option for black, just by pushing once. And this is the move that I think commentators was thinking that Byun failed to notice, because if you look at this one, there's actually no other move for black to white to move out. So for example, if white plays here, then obviously this Atari and these things work. So therefore, you don't even need to Atari first. You can just wedge first. I think also this one also doesn't work. So white can't easily come out. But with this move, white can come out. So if black extends, then white can just jump, and now white's already out. So people were thinking maybe they missed this move by Gu. And Zhou Yang basically saw this move right away, and he said, well, with Gu's reading ability, there's no way that Gu would miss this move, especially in this situation. And that's exactly how he played. And this is potentially, Gaza, I'm putting it down as one of the move of the year candidates, because this is the straw that broke Byung-sang's back.
Wow, a move of the year candidate. It is a very for a Q player. Yes, it is a very interesting move, because this is basically what allowed this white group to come out. Yes, yeah. I think, as you said, black allowed his group to get cut because he thought that he could capture these white stones.
Yes,
the white cutting stones. But this move prevents that, because it puts these four black stones here under too much pressure, that black has to spend too many moves helping those stones escape.
Yeah.
But in doing so, allows the white cutting stones to come out.
And I know what you all are thinking at this stage. It's Byun Sangil slapping himself really hard right now. I think not when we watch the stream. So yeah, but I think this is a really beautiful move. I think Gu Zihao read it, and now if white can come out, then this black stone will need to try and find a way to go into a capturing race with these white stones. So that's exactly what happened. So Gu Zihao even managed to block here and still come out. So it's really tough. And I think when I was watching the commentary, Joey Young was just playing all sorts of variations about how black can best do the capturing race. He was showing like maybe variations like this, like this, and it was like, black is still short by 1 liberty or something. And then Byung played this, and then Joey Young did the calculation again. He was like, this move just lose black 1 liberty? And I think that's actually exactly what happened. This move actually lost black 1 liberty. And
black didn't have a liberty to lose.
No, and now Byung Sang has gone completely crazy. This is kind of what you see in maybe, what do you call it? Some teaching games or handicap games. He's gone all crazy aggressive, which obviously doesn't really work. So good at this point just played the simplest that he possibly can, which is just to, I'm going to let you have a thick wall. I'm going to let you take 1 stone. I'm just going to make a simple jump and try to connect back to my groups, and I'm happy. But I think at this point, Byung Sang is already fairly behind. So, and Gu Zihao also played this push over here, which was actually a very subtle thing that you have to do. Because obviously black can only make an eye or connect. Black cannot ignore. So for example, if black plays elsewhere, then obviously this push through would just mean there's not even a capturing race. Just black's completely dead. So this is a very subtle move that Gu Zihao managed to take advantage of as well. He didn't let that pass. And but Byung Sang really is trying really hard to try to make the biggest possible territory that he can. But I don't really think that's enough. Basically, at this point, most of the commentary have kind of given up on Byun. And look how beautifully Gu Zihao played here. He played the simplest moves and just destroy some more territory. Play it safe. No need to do anything fancy. Anyway, Byung Sang decides to ignite this, play some with time suji kind of things, and then he's gone completely nuts by attaching everywhere, trying to cause trouble. He's trying his best, but I think none of them really worked with Gu Zihao. And basically, by this point, Gu Zihao just played really simply, just Atari, let black take the corner, but safely capture some stones. And black, the painful thing for black is it's still Gote. He still has to play 1 more move locally. Yeah, and Gu Zihao just plays like so safe, like make sure he has no connection problems. This is a very clear sign that he knows that he's leading. He doesn't have to take any risk. He just plays the safest moves, connect all his stones, and that was it. But Byun is still trying. I think credit to Byun. There could be something here because this push through is kind of very very annoying. So black might want to just protect his position, which he did. And I guess the final thing is how well this white group can live. And and there's really nothing really Bren can do over here. So this white group lived. Gu even managed to get this peep down here. Got some more Yosei. Yeah, it was just never gonna be enough for Byun. And I think he played for 10, 20 more moves, but and then he just resigned. Now you have to remember this what's happened in this game was Gu, he played a very, very, very what do you call it, overplay early on in the game, which created 2 weak groups, and one of his group was in trouble. But he managed to get out of trouble and somehow beat Byung Sang-il. So, and when So basically, Gu's done. Well, he's almost done the impossible now. By almost, I mean he's maybe like 20% there. He's
Well,
beaten Park Junghwan.
before we finish off
Yeah,
that game, I just want to say that this was actually the fourth time Gu Zihao and Byun Sangil had played each other.
right.
The first three occasions were all last year.
Yeah,
They played in the Chunlan Cup, in the Jar League, and in the Samsung Cup last year.
right.
And Byun Sangil won all three of those games.
Wow. Yeah,
So this was actually the first time that Gu Zihao had beaten Byun Sangil.
yeah,
And furthermore, this is Byun Sangil's third Nongshim Cup, his third game in the Nongshim Cup, and he's still yet to win one. He is 0-3.
yeah. So, Gaza, what comments do you have to make about Byung Sang-il's ability to handle pressure?
I have to say that at the moment, it seems like his ability to handle pressure is worse than average.
Yes.
For all his talent, he does seem to find it difficult to win the big events or even get to the finals. It seems like he does fall under a bit of pressure. I'm just looking now. He's only in his entire career he's won 5 titles, which seems to be quite low. For instance, Shin Min-jun he's won 7 titles, so he's won more titles. But you would have to say that Byun Sangil is the better player. He's certainly the higher ranked player.
Yeah.
But Shin Min-jun seems to be able to, for all his inconsistency, he can win the big games, whereas Byun Sangil certainly seems to do worse than usual in the big matches, and these Nongshim Cup games are not helping in that regard.
No. So, this is some pictures of Gu Zihao and Byun Sang-il. And
people are mentioning in the comments. Yeah, obviously another example, obviously is the semi-final against Choi Jong in the Samsung Cup, where Byun Sang-il not only lost, but he just played a very bad game.
Yeah.
And against someone, Choi Jong, obviously a very strong player, for sure, but not on Byun Sang-il's level.
Yeah.
And one has to wonder how he's going to fare in the Chunlan Cup final, which he's actually made his first world final against Lee Junhao. It certainly seems like it's going to be. I mean, unless something major happens in his mental fortitude, it seems like he's just going to be blown out of the park by Lee Junhao.
Yeah.
I
I wouldn't be so sure about that. You have to remember Lee Junhao is also a newbie in terms of international title finals. So I don't know who's going to be more nervous.
Yes, both of them are playing in their first world final. I certainly hope that both of them play at their best. I wouldn't want to see a player play below their abilities. Unfortunately, and for Byun Sang-il, if he plays at his ability in a final, that it's not as common as it should be.
Yeah. I mean, he can easily crumble, but let's just see. But now, Gu Zihao, after beating Byun Sang-il, has one final hurdle. But what a hurdle it is in Shin Jinseo. If Gu Zihao can complete the triple, skewer the top 3 in Korea, he would have, recorded his names in the history books of Weiqi in China for sure.
Yes, and what did you refer to Shin Jinseo, by the way?
As the Big Devil King, which is, I think, it's direct translation from Chinese. I think it just means the final boss kind of thing, character.
Shin Jinseo, the Big Devil King.
Big Devil King. Big Devil King. Which is, this person that you see over here, very ominous, reminds me of the comic, the manga, Death Note. And the guy behind him does look like he's holding the Death Note.
Yes.
Book.
In any case, though, this is regardless of who wins, this is the final game of the 24th Nongshim Cup. Both China and Korea. Japan's eliminated. Japan are gone. They're finished third. China and Korea are down to their last player, and they're playing each other.
Yeah.
So whoever wins this game will win their country the Nongshim Cup.
And this is the fabled game 14 of the Nongshim Cup.
So who is black? Who is white?
And in this game, black is Zihao, white is Shin Jinseo. Now, so let's basically. I mean, this game is so important. And both players will be playing very, very, very cautiously. And very early on, there's this big Joseki, not really Joseki, big sequence in the corner. I do believe that it favors
white.
white.
I think this does favor white. So black plays an eye destroying an eye shaped first line move.
Yeah.
To destroy the eye shape. The problem was that he was too thin on the outside, and white splits these two black groups. Black captures one stone in the corner.
Yeah.
But white cuts through. White's shape is a bit of a dumpling.
Yeah.
But with the right moves, it can. It does become, and Shin Jinseo does make the right moves, and white becomes stronger.
Yeah. So I mean, according to AI, it's about 73% to 27%. So maybe in real terms, it's maybe on average 1 or 2 points in it. So that's nothing really big in it. And I do remember watching the stream, and they said AI's recommended move was this, which is kind of the shape move. But Shin Jinseo decides to Atari like this, which apparently just basically make the win rates even out quite a bit. So even up to this point, even though there's like a big fight over here, it's actually quite even, very, very playable for both sides.
Right.
Yeah. So they just kind of just keep playing. Nothing really.
This is interesting though. Yeah. The black is trying to made a little invasion on the left. And the question starts to be, is black spreading their stones a little bit too thinly in places.
Yeah. Now, of course, if you're just purely looking at the AI's graph, it's very even, because AI is very good at Sabaki. It can probably make this stone lift and counter attack white, but for human, maybe it's a bit hard. And if you remember, in the game versus Byun, Gu also kind of made a similar kind of move. He kind of just invades into white's territory, and
yes, that's true. Yeah.
And this black Gu is definitely not alive. This is a very obvious peep here, and he is potentially creating another group. And this really reminded me of this, ancient Chinese, parable, and the story goes like this. There's this guy. I think he likes to hunt. He hunts rabbits, so he goes up to the mountains, and he was just resting by the tree stump. And at this point, a rabbit just raced across the field, and he ran so far that the rabbit's head hit on the tree stump and just died. So this hunter just managed to pick up the rabbit for no effort at all. And after that, he started to just go to the tree stump and wait, and hoping to see another rabbit run across and hit their head on a tree stump, and he then gets to have a free meal. But of course that never happened again. And I think this kind of reminds me of what Gu is doing here. Well, in the game versus Byun, he made a weak group, and somehow he got out of it. So he's trying this again. But is it going to work this time versus the Big Devil King? And I guess maybe it wasn't so easy, because they don't call Shin Jinseo the best player in the world for nothing. So yeah, I unfortunately I didn't really watch this game that much, so I don't really exactly know what's happened, but I do remember the commentary. Most of the commentary says that Zihao's pretty behind, and that it just it wasn't gonna work out for him. And
one thing that, sorry, what were you going to continue?
No, I was gonna say the commentary. Most of the commentary I've read basically says that at this point, it looks like white's in a very precarious position because it's kind of surrounded by black on both sides. But all the commentators, after they played a few variations, all show that white can actually get out of this unscathed. So it was actually not an easy thing for black to get an advantage over here. Shin Jinseo just managed to, even though it looks like his group's surrounded, he actually is able to get out, which is...
I think that's one of Shin Jinseo's strengths. He has a lot of strengths, but that seems to be one of his masteries of having seemingly weak stones be deceptively strong.
Yeah.
He always seems to, if he has a group of weak stones and his opponent has a group of weak stones, his group will always seem to be just slightly stronger.
Right.
And yeah, these white stones look to be quite in trouble.
Yeah.
But with Shin Jinseo, it's just he always had them under control.
Yeah.
And he was always just, he always just was one move ahead, one move away from disaster. But he always had enough time to save his groups. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm almost sure this just comes from superior reading.
We even have a suggestion in the comments that jump out. I think he's talking about move 90, candidate for move of the year.
90, right?
And to be honest, I'm kind of I think it's worth consideration. It really is an impressive set of reading. Remember, this is a 1 hour.
Yeah.
A 1 hour game as well. Yes, turning water into wine. Another comment on the chat.
Yeah.
It really was quite impressive. I encourage people some of the stronger players to go through the variations.
Yeah.
In this.
Yeah. I think it's not just the accuracy, but also the speed at which he can read, and also the confidence that his reading is correct. That he's decided that he's gonna not take care of this white group because it's already taken care of. He decided to jump over here. Crazy stuff. So yeah, and then obviously Gu tries best, try to wedge, but obviously Shin Jinseo has already read it out. It doesn't work. So yeah, and I think. Let's just say there's still chances for Gu, but
there's definitely still chances because a lot of the basically the right side is not settled yet.
No.
The problem is that he didn't get the result that he wanted on the left. This white group just refuses. Yeah, this white group is almost alive now.
Yeah.
And it will be alive.
Yeah.
On the bottom, all of these white stones are alive. On the bottom left as well.
Yeah.
And so now they have to play out the rest of the board, and essentially the only hope now is so actually an interesting point I wanted to say is on move 146.
146.
You go back to 146. So I found this interesting.
Yeah.
Now Shin Jinseo can just connect. White can just connect.
Yes, no problem.
Here that is fine, but Shin Jinseo doesn't do that. Shin Jinseo decides to get territory on the bottom to make a base, a bit of a base on the bottom. Let his stones get cut, and he's confident that both the right and the bottom can live.
Yeah.
And for sure, if that happens, then it's game over.
Yeah. I mean, it's I watched so many videos. When white is at this shape, I've almost never. I don't recall seeing even one case of pros connecting. Even though I think, if I'm not wrong, according to AI, the connect is actually okay. Yeah, it's actually in this particular situation, especially if black's already quite strong over here. But I do remember watching the commentary and says that after white's taken this this territory, this strong base over here. And the only chance for Gu that is black to win is to kill something of white.
Yes.
So that's what basically black needs to do, and it doesn't look easy. Let's put it this way.
Well, yeah. So the white group at the bottom isn't completely alive, but it probably will be. And then with
Now, guys, this is an interesting point in here, because when black plays here, obviously black is cutting off the white on here, but actually, if white is not careful, for example, if white tries to do this, then actually black can kill white.
Yes. I always that as a Q player, I did see this move.
And
I was thinking, if I was white, I would simply play at number 2.
And Zhou Yang, he's doing a bit of a Sung Tycoon in this game. At this stage, he was kind of showing various variations where if Shin Jinseo can lose this game. So he was like, oh yes, if Shin Jinseo is not careful here, he might lose this. But Shin Jinseo is Shin Jinseo. Obviously, he'll see this, and he's right, because Shin Jinseo just made his group live.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard to imagine Shin Jinseo missing this one. Yeah.
No. But the thing is, he could play this move in Gote because he was confident that his other groups are going to live, and like I said, if these groups live, he's got far too many points. So now that middle group, that middle left group is completely alive, or almost completely alive. It's not going to die now.
Yeah.
So now black, I think these moves here are time Sujis.
Right.
Because I think Gu Zihao was looking to see how to attack the group on the right.
Right.
But at this point he was in Byoyomi, so he only had 60 seconds of moves. So he made a few moves at the top and at the bottom, just to give himself a bit more thinking time. That's my theory anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, he eventually he did go to play on the right. And unfortunately for Gu Zihao, Shin Jinseo demonstrated a simple way to live, to make 2 eyes. And at that point, Gu Zihao realized that black did not have enough territory and thus resigned.
Now, maybe this is kind of interesting, because obviously, to me, it looks like that white's only got 1 eye over here. So black. So white needs to have something against this black jump, which kind of can destroy the eye over here. But obviously, this is just going to work. Yeah, so there's no way. So white's definitely alive. So this jump doesn't work just because of this.
I think it could have been worth continuing to play, because this is the Nongshim Cup.
Yeah.
For Gu Zihao, even though obviously Shin Jinseo would have seen this, it's always nice to.
Maybe it's not so obvious.
Well, wait, let's see then.
We have to jump. Maybe you have to throw in over here.
Wait.
Maybe I might be doing something wrong here. Yeah. So.
Wait. After he plays at Wait. Yeah. So after he plays there, can you play underneath? No, not there. Go down 2. Go down 2.
Yeah.
Here. Yes. Okay. And then just no. Play underneath 6. Underneath 6.
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, this doesn't work for black.
Yeah.
So black has to do this. Yeah. So that's alive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just Atari is enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna happen so it is alive. So it's
Well, you don't even need to play 14. You can get 2 eyes at that point.
I'm just showing it.
Yeah,
And of course,
yeah.
So and there's still some RG here for black. So so this is the way to live. And with that, Shin Jinseo's won the Nongshim Cup again for Team Korea.
Yes, but we have to say a good effort by Gu Zihao. Unfortunately, just to be clear, second place gets no prize money.
No prize money
in the Nongshim Cup.
Yeah.
But Gu Zihao did his best. He beat 2 of Korea's top 3 players.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he was certainly outplayed by Shin Jinseo, admittedly, but he gave it his best. You can't say that he was a failure. And to also be clear, if you look at the Chinese team, Fanting Yu won 3 games.
Yeah.
Gu Zihao won 2 games.
Yeah.
Lian Zhao won a game.
Yeah.
And Tuojiakshi, although he didn't win a game, he did force a replay.
Yeah.
That leaves Ke Jie.
Yeah.
He was the only Chinese player to lose his first game.
Yeah.
So just for the Ke Jie haters, I mean that's more fuel.
Yeah.
It's
I really don't know what to say. Yeah.
Don't know what to say, but we have to say that Ke Jie, he qualified for the Nongshim Cup. He actually had to qualify, and he did.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they just picked him because he's the number 1 ranked Chinese player. He actually qualified.
Yeah.
So, but maybe, this might be the end of the Ke Jie era.
Yeah.
And at only 25 years old.
Yeah.
But this isn't about Ke Jie. It's about Shin Jinseo in Korea.
Yeah.
One impressive thing about Shin Jinseo is that he has won his last 10 Nongshim Cup games.
Yeah.
And to me, I think winning 10 straight Nongshim Cup games is basically Nongshim Cup immortality, because 10 games is how many you need to win for if you go from start to finish.
Yeah.
To win a single Nongshim Cup on your own. Obviously, Shin Jinseo didn't do that.
Yeah.
But he did win 10 straight across 3 Nongshim Cups. And to me, I think that that's basically Nongshim Cup immortality. He's not the first player to do it. Lee Chang-ho won 14 straight Nongshim Cup games.
Legend. Yep.
Which is that's an absolutely bonkers achievement, and it's so bonkers that the fact that Shin Jinseo has even gotten close is frankly ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, just so crazy to win 10 straight Nongshim Cup games, regardless of how his career goes from here in the Nongshim Cup. That is a insanely impressive achievement, legendary stuff of legends. And yeah, he's once again he's won the Nongshim Cup for Team Korea, which is now their 3rd consecutive Nongshim Cup. Very good result.
Now, admittedly, in this particular edition of the Nongshim Cup, Shin Jinseo had a bit less to do, because in the last 2, he had to win, I believe, 4 and 5 games in a row.
Yes, actually, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago, he won 5 games in a row.
Was it not 4?
However, 2 years ago, he won 5.
Right, that's a year where he came on as the second player for last player.
Yes, so 2 years ago, he was not the anchor.
Yeah, no. Park Junghwan was.
Park Junghwan was the anchor, so he wasn't the very last player, but he did win 5 straight games, and Park Junghwan didn't have to play.
Yeah.
Because Shin Jinseo beat everyone left.
Yeah.
And then in the next Nongshim Cup, Shin Jinseo was the anchor for the first time. And he was given a big task.
Yeah.
Because his Korean teammates only won 2 games combined.
Yeah.
So Shin Jinseo had to win 4 games.
Yeah.
To win the title, which he ended up doing.
Yeah.
But then this time around, his teammates did quite well.
Yeah.
Shin Min-jun didn't win anything, but Kang Dong-yoon won 4 games, and then Park Junghwan, he won 2 games.
Yeah.
So laid a very strong foundation in which gave Shin Jinseo not as much work to do to secure the Nongshim Cup. And Shin Jinseo mentioned that they interviewed him afterwards, and he did give appreciation for his teammates, winning games. I'm sure he would have said unlike last year, but Shin Jinseo is a very polite person, so he didn't say that. But he did thank his teammates, and in particular, I would have to, in my opinion, I think Kang Dong-yoon was the MVP of this tournament. Obviously, he had the most wins. Yeah. But it wasn't just that. It was, coming back from, he basically drew what should have been a winning game against Tweljakshi, and not only does he come back from that to win the replay, but then he wins the next game as well against Yuzhengqi. Yeah. So I think Kang Dong-yoon, and I think Kang Dong-yoon was the oldest player in the Nongshim Cup. Yeah. He's slightly older than Iyama Yuta.
Right, yeah.
So, yes, he's slightly older. But, yeah, he did have the most wins. Yeah. And, yeah, and it was his performance that meant that Park Junghwan, Byun, Sangil, and Shin Jinseo didn't have to win that many games to win the overall title.
Yeah, 100%. Now, basically, this is basically the Nongshim Cup, but Shin Jinseo almost had to do another 3-game day on the day he won the Nongshim Cup, didn't he?
Wait, can we just mention someone in the comments saying Nongshim should retroactively give Shin Jinseo a win streak award? I would actually agree with that. I think they should. I think he should. I think if you win 10 straight Nongshim Cup games, regardless of if it's over multiple tournaments, you should get like a bonus win streak prize of 100 million won or something like that. Yeah. Something crazy, or 50 million won or something like that.
Yeah, 100%. I was going to say Shin Jinseo almost had to do another, 3-game day because after winning the Nongshim Cup on the same day, he had some Korean League duties.
Yes. Yeah, no, and this was crazy, and I had to get my friend to confirm this for me. Yeah. So the Korean League, as we know, happens. Just to be clear, it happens every Wednesday to Sunday.
Right.
So each week of the Korean League is from Wednesday to Sunday. Now, for all of those games, the Wednesday to Sunday, the player assignments. So basically, the managers determine which players play on which boards.
Yep.
And those assignments have to be submitted on the Monday for all of the games that week. Right. So including the Friday. So this Nongshim Cup finished on Friday, and Shin Jinseo's team played on Friday.
Yep.
So a bit of unfortunate scheduling there for Shin Jinseo, but it happens.
Yep.
Now, the manager had to submit the player assignments on Monday for this match. And obviously the manager didn't know whether or not. So they didn't know if Shin Jinseo would be playing in the Nongshim Cup on Friday.
Right.
Like on Monday, they didn't know if he would have to play.
Yeah.
But he knew that it was a chance. Now the manager, I think, is Kim Yong-hwan. So a senior player. I think he made the semi-final of the senior Baduk championships last year.
Right.
But in any case, one other aspect of the Korean League is that there are 4 games, but the first 2 games start at 7:00, and games 3 and 4 start later. Now, what the manager did is he actually put Shin Jinseo on board 1.
Yeah.
Now, just to be clear, the Nongshim Cup game started at 2:00,
Right.
and the Korean League game started at 7:00.
Right.
So he would have 5 hours minus however long the Nongshim Cup game went, as a break, like basically to prepare
Yeah.
for the Korean League. And the thing was, the Nongshim Cup game was actually not that long a game
Right.
against Zihao. It was relatively short. It was about 2 hours 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But that still only gave Shin Jinseo maybe 2 hours, because they had to have the presentation ceremony as well for the Nongshim Cup straight afterwards.
Yeah.
So he only had about 2 hours. And the thing is, the Nongshim Cup game could have lasted even longer than that. One of Park Junghwan's games was 4 hours.
Yeah.
And I've seen, if there was a long co-fight, it could have been closer to 5 hours.
Yeah.
I've seen GS Caltech's Cup games last 5 hours, and they have the exact same time controls.
Yeah.
So I really don't understand what Kim Young-hwan was thinking, putting Shin Jinseo on board 1.
Yeah.
But the idea was that in the event, if it's a 2-2 draw,
Yeah.
in the Korean League, they have to have an ace match, and the ace match is played immediately after the final game finishes. Now, the thing is, apparently the reason why Kim Young-hwan put Shin Jinseo on board 1 is because if there was an ace match, you want one of the players from the first 2 games to be your ace player.
Right.
Because those games typically finish first.
Right.
So they'll at least have a little bit of a break.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to put your top player on boards 3 and 4. They happen to be the last game to finish, and then they immediately have to play an ace match.
Right. Yeah.
Straight away. So that you want to have a little bit of a break. But the thing is, so basically that says that Kim Young-won was anticipating the possibility of Shin Jinseo having to play the Nongshim Cup, then play with maybe a couple of hours break, play in the Korean League, and then possibly play an ace match as well.
Yeah.
For 3 games.
3 games in a day.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen, did it, Gaza?
No, and the reason why is because their opponent is Korea Price Information.
Yeah.
And they put Kang Dong-yoon on board 1.
Yeah.
Which meant that Shin Jinseo had to play Kang Dong-yoon. Now, Kang Dong-yoon, not only is he, one of the best players in Korea, but he didn't have to play earlier in the day. So he was fresh as well. And the funny thing was, they actually put Kang Dong-yoon on board 1 specifically so that he could avoid playing Shin Jinseo.
All right.
And this is actually a pretty open secret strategy by many of the teams.
Right.
They're trying to avoid putting their best players against Shin Jinseo.
Yeah.
Because they basically see Shin Jinseo as too strong a player that that anyone has a reasonable chance of beating him. So they basically want to put their worst player. Ideally, they want to put their worst player against Shin Jinseo.
Yeah.
So then their other 3 strong players have a better chance of winning their actual games.
Yeah.
But in this case, so they put Kang Dong-yoon on board 1, fully expecting that he wouldn't have to face Shin Jinseo.
Yeah.
And they actually put their 2 weakest players on boards 3 and 4. But in the end, they got a surprise when Kang Dong-yoon was paired up against Shin Jinseo.
Yeah.
And the problem was, so then the problem was, Shin Jinseo actually didn't win. He lost.
Yeah.
And you have to imagine it's quite clear that Shin Jinseo is extremely competitive. I can't think of the proper adjective for it, but he is ridiculously competitive.
Yeah.
But even he has his limits.
Yeah.
And it turns out winning, one of the biggest tournaments of the year can affect your motivation if you when you play another game that's worth far, far less a couple of hours afterwards.
Yeah.
And I don't think Shin Jinseo was mentally exhausted.
Yeah.
But I think just psychologically he just had trouble caring.
Yeah.
So to say, I don't want to discredit Kang Dong-yoon because Kang Dong-yoon played at his level, which at the moment is very high.
Yeah.
But I think Shin Jinseo had a little bit more apathy in this game than usual, and I don't think it was intentional. I'm sure that Shin Jinseo would have wanted to win this game for sure, but it must, as someone who's never been the best at the world at anything, it must be very hard winning, one of the biggest games of the year, and then a couple of hours later they say, "Oh yeah, can you play this league game?"
Yeah.
But in the end, so Shin Jinseo lost, and he actually lost on time.
Yeah.
But if you watch the video, I think he just basically, I think he was basically in two minds about whether to continue playing or to resign.
Yeah.
And in the end, he decided to continue playing, but it was just too late.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was too upset about losing on time. He just couldn't be bothered anymore. But still, credit to Kang Dong-yoon. Kang Dong-yoon played an amazing game and deserves that win. And I believe that actually snaps an 8-game losing streak.
Oh wow!
Against Shin Jinseo. I'll just quickly confirm that, but I believe that Kang Dong-yoon had lost his last 8 games. Against Shin Jinseo.
And of course, Shin Jinseo's teammates decided to let him have a rest, and they all decided to lose as well.
Yes. So the interesting thing was, I think in the end, if it ended up being a 2-2 draw, they weren't going to put Shin Jinseo in the ace match.
Right.
Anyway, I think they would have changed their mind about that. By the way, I don't think the ace match has to be announced on the Monday.
Right.
I think that one is just announced as soon as it's known that there will be an ace match. But I'm just checking. Yes, Shin Jinseo had won his last 8 games against Kang Dong-yoon.
Right.
And he had it looks like something like a 3-11 record. Yes, he had a 3-win 11. Kang Dong-yoon has had a 3-11 record against Shin Jinseo, so now it's 4-11.
Very nice.
But yeah, in the end, not only was there not an ace match, not only did Kicks lose, but they actually lost all 4 boards. They lost 4-0.
Yeah. So therefore,
not only they didn't get any match points, but even if Shin Jinseo won, they would have lost 3-1, and they wouldn't have gotten any match points anyway.
Yeah.
So in the end, not only did he lose, but the game was worth even less. Like it was clear it was worth almost nothing. I mean, there's still a game point which could be used in a tiebreaker, but yeah, no. It turns out that Shin Jinseo's team, the Kicks team, is just not very good. I'm sorry to say, but it isn't, and none of his teammates have a better than 50% win rate.
Yeah.
And currently, in their league, they're 5th out of 6 teams. They're only ahead of the Taiwanese team.
Yeah.
So it's a good chance that they may not even make the playoffs.
Oh wow.
Which is kind of ridiculous, considering that Shin Jinseo, even though he's just gotten his 2nd loss in the Korean league, he still has more wins than anyone else in the league. He's got 9 wins. Which is more than anyone else. No one else has 9 wins. So, it was interesting, but the thing is, the more important thing is that Shin Jinseo won the Nongshim Cup.
Yes.
I think in the end he won't really care about this game.
Yeah. So that concludes our coverage of the 24th Nongshim Cup. So congrats to Team Korea for their 3rd consecutive win. I'm already looking forward to next year's Nongshim Cup. So let's leave it at that. And of course, I bought my Nongshim noodles. Been eating them religiously for 5 days, one per day at least. So that's
you certainly love your food, Yuta.
I do. Lucky I'm not showing my face or even my.
I'm just joking, but
Yeah.
no, this Nongshim Cup, it was really interesting. I mean, over all three stages, it had drama.
Yeah.
It had really exciting games, and we got a full 14 game schedule.
Yeah, and of course, don't forget that the crazy Tojashi versus Kang Dong-yun.
No, I won't forget that. That was one of the
Yeah.
one of the exciting moments of the year, and there always seems to be an exciting moment in every Nongshim Cup. And
Yeah.
I really think these 1 hour time controls really seem to optimize the amount of suspense and excitement and tension in these games. Sometimes you'll get really one-sided games, but a lot of the times they're vicious battles.
Yes.
And you know, it really shows. It also just demonstrates just how important the Nongshim Cup is to these players.
Yeah.
But not as important, I think, as the Asian Games will be later on this year.
Yeah. So that's definitely going to be huge.
I do hope. I desperately hope that the Asian Games will be live streamed. Not live streamed, but not necessarily live streamed, but at least live Kifu.
Yeah.
I'm actually a little bit worried that we won't get live Kifus at the Asian Games.
Yeah.
I do hope that we get that because, as I said, in my opinion, that will be the biggest tournament of the year.
Yeah.
And
I really do. Yeah.
Remember, for China, it's a source of pride.
Yeah.
But for Korea, it's not just a source of pride; it's also an attempt to get military exemption.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the only way that these players can get military exemption. So,
yeah,
you know that they'll be fighting for that.
Yeah, 100%. So, speaking about things to look forward to, Gaza, shall we look at the calendar, because I do believe there are at least a couple of competitions there that we can look forward to, Gaza.
Yeah. So now that we've still got the Korean League going on, obviously.
Yeah.
Including tomorrow being Sunday.
Yeah.
As of this recording, Team Japan will be playing the aforementioned Korea Price Information, Kang Dong-yoon's team.
Very nice.
And Team Japan have got a few of their good players. They've got Yuki Sakai.
Yeah.
Sakai Yuki, sorry. They've got Fukuoka Kataro. They've got Seki Kataro. And they've also got Yoshihiro Koike. So they've got a Koike Yoshihiro, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've got some of their stronger players, that one. They're still trying to get their very first win. So maybe they'll be able to do it then. And then Team Japan will also be playing the reigning champions, beautiful Hapcheon, on the following Friday, the 3rd of March.
Very nice.
Because that's the next week's games, the team lineup hasn't been announced yet. But yeah, 2 more opportunities for Japan to get their first match win. We do hope that they will get a match win.
Yep, 100%.
On the domestic scene, no, actually, on the international scene, what do we have next week?
Well, I don't know whether to call this international or not, but let's. I guess it is international, although it's kind of maybe in one continent. There's kind of the European Pro qualifiers are meant to be on in this couple of days. So.
I forgot about that. Yes,
Yeah.
The European Pro qualifiers. Now, they've started, haven't they?
Well, according to their website, it's the 25th Central, 3 p.m. Central European time. So I don't know what that is, but I can quickly check that. Yeah, so that's going to be around soon, definitely within 24 hours. So yeah, it's about 1 a.m. So it should be soon, in a couple of hours. They will start the pro qualification first stage, round 1. That's my understanding.
We'll definitely give an update on that in the next. I believe all the quarterfinals will have been played by the time of the next podcast.
Right. Yeah, and they would be streamed, I believe, on Twitch. So yeah.
Oh, Twitch! Wait, do we have the Twitch link?
If you go to the European Go Federation website, you'll find the links to the games which are here. If you click on it, it will take you to Twitch. I think it's literally just twitch.tv/European Go Federation.
Can you post that in the chat? Just post it in the chat. So
Yeah, I'll post it in the chat.
it's in 1 hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's not.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Sweet.
Yeah, definitely. That will be epic. So, yeah.
All right. Good stuff.
And,
That's good stuff. That is exciting. That is exciting.
And
but also in international, I'm looking at the a women's tournament.
A women's tournament. It's the return of the Senko Cup. In fact, the 5th edition. If you remember, Gaza, last year's...
This is the International Senko Cup.
International Senko Cup. In the last year's International Senko Cup, something very rare have happened because...
Yes. A Japanese player won.
A Japanese player won. So...
Yuno Asami. Yes. So she's the reigning champion, and she's going to be appearing in this year's Senko Cup as well.
Yes. Looking forward to that. The Senko Cup lineup has already been announced. It's always the 4 players from Japan. They are the semi-finalists in the domestic version of the Senko Cup. I believe this year it was Fujisawa Arena, Ueno Asami, Nakamura Sumire, and New Aiko.
That is correct.
And they invite 4 players from around the world. Of course, the usual suspects from Korea, Choi Jong. In China, it's not Yu Jing this year. It's actually Zhou Hongyu. And from Taiwan, our friend. Well, I don't know why I said our friend, but I like her to be my friend, but I have not yet met her yet. It's Lu Yuha. If you remember, she actually made the final.
You have the poster?
Yes, I'll try to find the poster. It should be somewhere around here, Senko Cup. And and this, of course, this is just the what I mentioned of the 4 Japanese players: Choi Jong, Lu Yuhua, Zhou Hongyu, and there's also a player from Vietnam, which I believe to be 5 Dan, but I couldn't find her name, so I'm not really sure what's happening there. But yeah,
5 Dan amateur, that is.
Yeah, amateur. Yeah, I don't think obviously there's no pros in Vietnam yet. Hopefully there will be one day. So that's the International Senko Cup. But it's...
Oh, wait, we've got a question. Who did Yuno Asami beat in the last Senko Cup? That is a great question. So let's quickly check. Now the Senko Cup is there's only 8 players, and it's straight knockout every round. So it's for an international tournament, it's by far the shortest one.
Yeah.
So you only have to win 3 games. Now Yuno Asami, she actually beat Yu Ying in the first round. Then she beat Fujisawa Arena in the second round, and then she beat the Taiwanese rep Lu Yuhua in the final.
Yeah.
So she beat someone from China, someone from Japan, and someone from Taiwan.
Very nice. Very nice.
And we don't yet have the draw for this year's Senko Cup. We don't know who's going to be playing each other in the quarterfinals.
Yep.
But another thing to point out is that Choi Jong has never won the Senko Cup.
Surprise. Yep.
Yeah, it's a big one of the big tournaments that she has yet to win. So she's certainly going to be focusing her efforts on this one. You would have to say Choi Jong is the favorite.
Yep.
But of course.
But we all know what happened last year, so yeah.
Well, last year she lost to Ji Yimin.
Yeah.
Very surprising, but
yeah.
Obviously anything can happen.
Yeah.
Now in Korea we have a couple of interesting games. We've got the KBS Cup final starting.
Yep.
Now, game 1 is on Sunday, so that's actually tomorrow. The thing is that it's the KBS Cup, so it's kind of it's sponsored by KBS, and like the NHK Cup, I don't think it's live streamed.
Right. Yeah.
I think they do a recording, and then KBS sort of has the exclusive rights to it, so they broadcast it on KBS when when they're scheduling it.
Yeah.
But the result will be available beforehand, so we'll be able to get the result. We won't be able to see a live stream of it. But the game 1 of the final is tomorrow, and that's between Shin Jinseo and Park Junghwan. So Shin Jinseo is looking to defend his title.
Yeah.
And then other than that, there are some Maxim Cup games, including Shin Jinseo versus Cho Han Seong
Yep.
on Monday, and on Tuesday, Park Junghwan versus Han Seong-ju.
Yep. Very nice.
Yes.
And also in the, I believe, the Korean K1 Championship, we have Park Junghwan versus Lee Chung-suk.
Yes, the Korean K1 is another major,
Yeah.
domestic major. It's still in the very early stages. They're still in the round of 32.
Mm.
And I believe it's a double elimination. So I believe this is a winner's bracket game.
Yep.
So basically, whoever wins will go through the round of 16, but whoever loses will still have one more bite of the cherry.
Yep.
To get to the round of 16. So still very early days in that one.
Yep. And of course, with some big ones from Japan, Kisei final game 5. Ichiriki versus Shibano.
Oh, Kisei game 5. Now, this is a big one because Ichiriki is one game away from winning this.
Yes.
From winning the Kisei, defending his Kisei title.
Yes.
So this is an insane week. Last week was big with the JAR League finishing. This week was big with the Nongshim Cup.
Yeah.
And next week is big as well. Like you've got the Senko Cup, you've got the European qualifiers, you've got the big names in the KBS Cup, the Maxim Cup, the Korea K1. Like we've even got the Korea Strongest is starting.
Yeah.
As well with Park Jin-sol versus Byun Sangil.
Yeah.
It's just a chock-a-block week.
Yeah.
Of Baduk. We're going to have to decide which games we're going to talk about next week.
Yeah, we're going to have to cut quite a bit of content. Now, also don't forget, this 22nd Southwest King is also happening on the Saturday. And
nice.
The Southwest King was basically the last tournament that the Kurjie has won. So Kurjie won last year's edition. It's a fast competition. And we even had Kurjie versus Lee Xuanhao in that competition last year. Although Kurjie was the victor at that time. So yeah, another fast tournament to look forward to. We might move the coverage of that to the next podcast because there's just too much on. So
yes, but
so that's
much.
That's the calendar for next week. Guys, is there anything you wanted to mention?
One very last thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to cover it too much.
Yeah.
Taiwan did play a game in the Korean League.
Yeah.
They played one game, I believe, and they lost. That's all I really want to say. Actually, no, they played two. Sorry, they played two. And one of them they actually won. So last Sunday, they actually beat Team Baduk Mecca.
Oh, wow.
In an ace match.
Oh, wow.
So this is their first ace match victory, and they actually went against. I mentioned before that Taiwan had an internal policy that nobody plays twice in one match.
Yeah.
So if it goes to an ace match, they'll have someone that didn't play in the first 4 games. They actually broke their policy.
Right.
Last Sunday, Zhu Haohong played twice, and he actually lost the first game against Seol Hyun-jun. But in the ace match, he played again, and he also played against Seol Hyun-jun, and he got his revenge. And Taiwan won. So that's Taiwan's second match win.
Yep.
But then the very next match, which was on the following Wednesday, so this Wednesday, Taiwan played again, and they played Team Taijim, and they lost 3-1. So they're still last. They're still last in their group, but they did get another win. Yeah.
Okay, that's good news. I thought they had lost both, but I mustn't been following very closely. Hopefully Japan can emulate Taiwan because Taiwan's got 2, Japan's still on 0, unfortunately. So so Gaza, that's it for another episode, I guess. And
yes, thanks everyone.
Yeah, thanks everyone for in the chat. And I guess it's time to say goodbye.